Allie Benjamin here live from Farmington, Utah. We meet here every Sunday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. All are welcome if you're here for the first time. So glad that you showed up today, whether you just stumbled across this by chance or somebody invited you. I'm so glad you're here. Stay to the end because I know there's going to be something that's going to touch your heart, that's going to open you up to a new dimension of yourself, of your spirituality, and what wants to come forward in your life as you. So welcome to you if you're new, and welcome to you if you're joining us again. It's so good to know that we have this place to come and you've made it a regular stop for your Sunday morning. If you find this ministry, this message, this download inspiring and would like to help us reach more people, you can donate at either on Venmo at Satya Center, or you can go to our website, growingedgelive.com, and make a donation there. We are a nonprofit and your donations are a tax credit. So thank you so much for supporting us. You really give wings to our vision and mission, which is to heal hearts, transform lives, and inspire conscious evolution. So thank you so much. I think I will just put the mute on our music for now. So I'd like to, before I get going on today's topic, which is living with the end in mind, why don't we do a little grounding, a little centering. So as you arrive here in this moment, as you take some time for yourself, maybe you've been rushing around this morning, getting ready for your day. Now it's time to slow down and to become fully present in this moment. And let's take a breath together, inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and completely relaxing to the moment. And breathing out peace. And as your breath finds its natural rhythm and you feel fully supported by the surface that you're sitting on, let us know together that whatever wants to be revealed to each of us is revealed in crystal clarity. Because we are here today to gain insight, to gain some practical tools, spiritual tools for engaging with life more fully, for being open to the bigger picture, to our oneness. And so whatever is seeking to be revealed for us individually and collectively, may it do so in crystal clarity. And whatever is seeking to be released, let go of, healed, forgiven, may it do so with great gratitude in our hearts, in our minds. For we know that the waking up journey, the coming home to who we truly are, is only hindered by that which we hold on to, that, especially that which is heavy in our heart, or where we may be casting blame. And so we settle into today's teaching knowing that whatever wants to be let go of is done so with gratitude for the lessons, for the opportunity, and let go of completely. And only what benefits us stays with us. And the rest is released. And whatever is seeking to be activated, integrated into our lives, into our minds, may it do so with grace and ease today. Yeah. May we integrate this teaching, these ideas, this deeper inquiry with grace and ease. And so as we come back, maybe place your hand on your heart for a moment and just acknowledge the gift that you're receiving today through your making this choice to be spiritually nourished and honoring yourself for your willingness, for your being allowing, for you being vulnerable to grow, to evolve, to expand. Knowing that what we take in today, what is experienced today, only enhances our ability to bring love and light into the world. This is a blessing, and this is your blessing today. A blessing that we all benefit from. And when you're ready, open your eyes and be here now. So welcome back and good morning. So the art of living with the end in mind. What does that mean? Well, there's a lot that we can learn from sort of leaning in to the uncomfortable, to the idea of our own mortality, death, and so many of us shy away from it. We don't talk about it in general. It's sort of a taboo subject. Well, I recently read a book called Heartwood by Barbara Becker, and this is, the tagline is The Art of Living with the End in Mind. And so that's why I chose this. And having read that and really vibrating with that tagline, living with the end in mind, the art of living with the end in mind. And so as a new thought teacher, I see it from two perspectives. Living with the end in mind, to me, right off the bat, I thought, well, what have I learned from being with the loved ones that in my life that have crossed over and made their transition, that have died? Because there's been many, and I've spent time with all of them as they neared the end times, and they shared with me great wisdom. Now, they probably didn't think of it that way because they were so present with their process of leaving. But what I experienced from being with them, and as memories came up for me as about their life and the heartprints that they had left in my life, and the way they actually moved through the dying process, that left a deep imprint in my heart and in my mind. So on one hand, as a new thought teacher, I thought of that. What can I bring today that would help individuals become a bit more conscious of our own mortality, of death, and leaning into loss and the loss of a loved one, the power of that and what that might bring, but also living with the end in mind also speaks to that idea that we can actually vision our life if we focus on what we want our life to look like, say, a year from now, 5 years from now, or even upon our deathbed. What would we like our life to look like? How would we like to envision our life? So why? So that we can live more mindfully now, because we have an idea of what might be most meaningful and important to us if we kind of jumped into the future for a moment, just in our imagination. And we imagined, who do I want to be when I leave this planet, when I make my transition? What is the heartprint I want to leave on the loved ones that I leave behind? What is my legacy? And so we can sort of look forward into time, whether a year, 5 years, 10 years, or on our deathbed, and get an idea of who we want to be. And then when we have an idea, let's say a year from now, of the life that we would like to be living, one of joy and peace and abundance and fun and vibrancy, or I can only imagine, that's what I want anyway, we can then live with that end in mind. And that informs our footsteps today. So we sort of reverse engineer it. We get an idea of the end result, and then we stand here fully grounded in our life today and say, what's it going to take for me to reach my end goal? So if I live with the end in mind, won't that bring me a greater sense of meaning and purpose? So those are the two ways that I've looked at this idea of the art of living with the end in mind. How can I learn from those that have already lived a full life? And how can I structure my life? How can I bring more depth and meaning by understanding what's most important to me a year from now, 5 years, 10 years, and at the end of my life? So this is a very revolutionary idea, because it's going to, if you explore this, if you inquire into what's most meaningful for you and thinking about your own mortality, it's going to change everything for you, because you're breaking out of the status quo. You're breaking out of the box or the paradigm that you've existed in. You're saying to the universe, this is good, this life is good that I've created, but I know as a revolutionary thinker, as a new thinker, as a thought leader, as someone that is highly creative, I know that I have the ability to think outside of my current paradigm, outside of my current box. I get to think thoughts that are going to inspire me to grow, to expand, to become more of myself, to identify things that I want to do and how I want to be in the world that are going to be more satisfying, more fulfilling, more fun. So who is it that you want to be a year from now, 10 years from now? How is it that you want to engage in the world? And how is it that you want to imprint your love, your light, your wisdom, your care, your kindness on the world around you? One way of doing this is to think about those in your life. Maybe you've got loved ones that are here or transitioned that come to mind right now as I'm asking you this question. Who is it in your life experience that you most admire, appreciate, value? Maybe someone that made an imprint on your heart. Someone that made a difference in your life. And as you ponder this, you might consider the qualities that they embodied. And for me, I think of all of my loved ones that I've had the honor and the pleasure and the privilege of being with as they neared their transition. I think of my father and what he taught me in my life. He taught me about being self-reliant, about being independent, of finding my own answers. Now this came at a cost. He wasn't warm and fuzzy, and he wasn't always there for me. He wasn't someone that necessarily fed me emotionally. He was more of the type that that aligned with the philosophy of you teach a man to fish rather than you feed a man a fish, meaning that, yeah, we can give of our time and our resources and our talents to help someone. But if you're not helping them to learn how to do for themselves, to be for themselves, then it's a fleeting gift. And so he was really someone that taught me how to fish. He taught me how to rely on myself, to trust myself, to build my self-confidence, and so that I could do and be what I wanted to be and do in the world. And in that, I also felt like there was a sense of him trusting that I had what it took. And that was very important to me as a child. Anyway, that was one of the wonderful people in my life that really left a heartprint and helped me to structure my time, my thoughts, my actions in the world, so that I could mirror that, could share that, could pass it forward, pay it forward. Another person was my son Adam. Now, Adam left at a young age, at 32, but he really taught me about being the quiet observer. He wasn't very outgoing, he was an introvert, but I was always surprised at the depth of what he took in, what he was paying attention to. And I'd find out about it from the occasional comment he would make, the observations that he would give voice to. He was paying attention, even when he appeared not to be. He also taught me about having a sense of humor and being someone that would bring great presence in his hugs. He would always give me really, really big hugs. And I know that my other children have appreciated that, and we've talked about that. And they take it upon themselves to do that now themselves. They hug for just a few seconds longer than maybe they would have before. They're continuing on that Adam hug. My mother-in-law, she passed 3 years ago. And was it 2 years ago? It's time flies. It really does. That's another thing my loved ones have taught me, that life is fleeting and life is valuable and it moves by so quickly. And my mother-in-law taught me how to be kind, how to be generous of heart. She was always volunteering. She was always standing for something. There are plenty of ways to be an activist in the world. She never was standing up for the sort of what was wrong or fighting against things that were unjust. She gave her time and her heart and her commitment to stand for something. She stood for women being independent, women becoming empowered. She started a women's shelter. And this women's shelter, Doves, was an organization that helped women to learn how to fish. Yes, it gave and it supported women in crisis and trauma and struggle, but it taught them lifelong living skills so that they could move away from abusive situations and that they could teach their children and model for their children what it means to step out of an uncomfortable, abusive situation and step more fully into an empowered life of taking responsibility for their own life, their own power, their own happiness. So, and then one more that comes to my mind is my father-in-law, Jim. We didn't always see eye to eye. We had very different spiritual beliefs, but just before he passed over, he had a celebration of life. And that's another thing that my loved ones, both Carolyn, my mother-in-law, and my father-in-law, Jim, they both had parties or celebration of life, gatherings before they left. So they got to be at their own memorial. It was really fabulous. And Jim, what he did, he asked all of his loved ones to come together. And he was very, very motivated to share with everyone that was there why he did the things he did in his life. He had a lot of regret. He had a lot of remorse. And his having the opportunity to bring his loved ones together at the end of his life to say sorry, to explain why he did what he did, and none of it was terrible. All of it was just life, just him being the him that he was. It was him reconciling his past with his current state of having a real spiritual life, a close walk with God. And so he got to share that with his loved ones. He got to say sorry, and he got to explain why he did what he did and make amends. And so those are some of the gifts that I've got from really leaning into grief, leaning into loss, leaning into the dying process, and not shying away, but staying present, not being fearful and in denial of it, but staying mindful that we're all going to be gone. None of us are going to come out alive. We're all going to leave. But it's what we do between the moment of our birth and when we check out, when we leave this earth suit. It's what we do with the years in between. So maybe you can identify what you value most in life by looking to those, either family members or loved ones, or maybe historical figures, and identifying for yourself the attributes and the strengths that they embodied, and then bring them on board in your own life so that you can be a living, breathing memorial to those loved ones, that the love that they embodied, the kindness they embodied, the creativity they embodied, the independence they embodied, whatever it was, that you get to now be that and bring that. That's how we are paying tribute to our loved ones, embodying the wisdom and the gifts that maybe they didn't fully embody in their own lifetime, but we saw in them that they didn't even realize they had. And so we can bring it into life, we can bring it into form, and we can bless the world with our own experience, our own unique flavor of all of these attributes. I call them our divine qualities. So let's go inside, let's do a little clearing and activation so that we can ground ourselves more fully into the blessings that our loved ones imparted on us. So closing the eyes and going within and knowing there's only one life, one power, one presence, one infinite organizing intelligence that's never in absence. The center of this God love, this wisdom, this power is everywhere. The circumference of it is nowhere. We are immeasurable points of creation. We are creative beings having this wonderful spiritual human experience. We are here to bring forth the light of spirit. We're here to bring forth the love of God in our own unique way, in our own very lifetime. So let's release anything right now that is hindering us from bringing forth our joy in the world. Any doubt, any fear, any confusion, any feelings of being victimized, any playing small, any worry, anxiety, let us know that we can transcend that through reaching for more empowering thoughts by aligning with what brings us joy. And so we transcend those more darker or the lower frequency vibrations, and we step more fully into our joy, into our peace, into our power, into our love and compassion, into our creative expression, into our intuition, into our wisdom. And we access the heaven that we are creating moment by moment, thought by thought. We enter into heaven right now here as we live, as we breathe. We don't wait for heaven, we create heaven on earth right now. And let's do it together as we release our heartache, our blame, our shame, our guilt, our confusion. We release it now. We release discontent and we step into contentment. We step into what's possible. We step into the idea of, what if it's easy? What if life's for me? What if I'm here to bring forth my divine qualities and it happens with ease and joy? And that's what we claim today. That's what we embody today. We let it be because it is so, and together we say, and so it is. So peace and blessings to you right where you are. If you ever want support, we have a team of practitioners just waiting to support you. Go ahead and DM me. Go to our site, growingedgelive.com. Find us on Facebook at the Satya Center, or on Instagram, Satya Center. We're here to support you. We've got counselors, coaches that are cheering you on. You're not in this alone. We're in this together. And so peace and blessings to you. Lots of love. Mwah. Bye-bye.